big. Ooh, it has some things on it.
Let me see, it's okay. Let me see it. And welcome back to Crayon Farms. My whole purpose on coming out to the garden tonight was to harvest this bed of garlic. I came out and started finding potatoes and beans and things that we needed to pull anyway. So while they are filling up my bowl with some nice fresh garden produce, I'm going to show you how to harvest this garlic. Now, if you remember my video back in November, I showed you how we planted this. And just the other week I came in, my garlic was really tall, and I cut my garlic down so that the plant would focus all of its energy on making the actual bulbs down here bigger. I actually pulled 3 to see what they looked like, and then a friend of mine told me to go and cut them down. It would allow them to then focus all their energy instead of on the flowering part of the plant. It would allow them to focus on making that bulb just get a little bit bigger. So we're gonna dig them up tonight, and then I will tell you how you go about curing them so that you can store them for long-term storage. All right, so really what you wanna do is you wanna come down in here beside your bulb. Some of these are pretty far down. So actually I didn't plant them this far down, but I really think, wow, you won't believe how warm this soil is down in here. But my cat got in after we had planted, and she moved some of these bulbs around, so it actually has made them a little bit deeper than I actually wanted them. You want to be easy when you're doing it, that you don't pull the papers off of the garlic when you're harvesting it. So, hold on one second. Here is one bulb of garlic, and you'll see because it was down in the dirt, it's really wet, and so the papers that are around the cloves are going to be really soft, which is why it's really important to let it sit and dry, because you don't want the papers to come off. That will kind of ruin your garlic. So this entire thing is what we will dry over a couple of weeks. Roots, bulb, and what's left here of leaves and stems. So there's one. We've got plenty more to harvest. And there we go. Another successful bulb of garlic. All right, so this garlic was planted back in November. I waited till we had a couple of frosts, and then I put the cloves of garlic in. And then you want to wait. It takes about 8 months before you can start harvesting your garlic. So this has been a long time coming. This is my first time planting garlic, and I'm so excited as to how well this is done. I have watched this bed throughout the whole spring, and just couldn't believe how well things were looking out here. So all I'm gonna do is keep going through this bed and keep harvesting our garlic one head at a time here. So I also doing some companion planting. I also planted some beets in here, so I'll pull some of those beets while I'm going through and pulling out this garlic as well. Now garlic you want to plant in the same spot each year. So since this was our first time planting here, we will keep this bed for our garlic for next year also. So they say about 3 years before your garlic is like at its optimum. So if these really did this well this year, I cannot wait to see what they look like next year. Oh look, there's a carrot that was in this bed.
Oh, a carrot.
Yep. Who knows what this is? I want you to leave a comment below. My Japanese beetles are trying to enjoy it, but look at it. And if you know what this is that's planted here, I want you to leave a comment below and tell me what it is. And in our next video, I'll tell you what this is and what it's good for.
What is it?
This raised bed is a hugelkultur. So what it means is that on the bottom of this is big logs and sticks. Then we started filling it with some buttercup cow manure on the top of it. We topped it with some good leaves and then started filling it with dirt and filled it with compost. Now, during the winter, we used the manure from our rabbits and put in here. When we tucked our garden in for the winter, we actually can see some of it's not broken down all the way. We topped it off with a good dose of wood chips. And then right before spring started, you can see some of the wood ash that's been thrown in here too. So we have been feeding this bed and feeding this soil for a year or more now. And you can see that the garlic did really, really well in this. So amending your beds and feeding your soil give you really good outcomes in the end. These heads of garlic, they look great, especially for our first time planting.
I think they look good.
So you can, wow, look at this one. You can do all sorts of things. Like I could have left these tall and we could have harvested them and then braided them. But a friend of mine told me that if I went on and cut them, it would focus all that energy down into the bulb and allow the bulbs to kind of swell up. And I'll show you a comparison of the ones that I pulled just a couple weeks ago and how they look compared to how these bulbs look. They really did swell up and get bigger after I cut these down and let them sit. So after I harvest all of these, what we're actually gonna do, we're gonna leave everything intact. The stalk, the bulb, the root, all of it. And this is what we're gonna be drying. So you can tie them together, hang them up in your basement, and about a bunch of 10 maybe, and hang up so that they can dry. You want good air circulation to be able to get around them so that they don't get moldy or something. You can also lay them out somewhere where you have like a screen. So we have some 1x4s that we have kind of screwed together that have chicken wire over them. So I'm gonna lay them on that also, so just it can get good airflow and so that they will dry out. Now this is gonna take about 2 or 3 weeks. We're gonna leave them there, we'll keep a check on them. And then in 2 or 3 weeks, I'm gonna show you how we're gonna store them after we get through the curing process. Now the reason you wanna cure these is because if you try to use them right now, the papers are so wet from being in this moist soil that they're just gonna come right off. So we want them to dry so that the papers will harden. And I'm gonna show you the 3 that I pulled. I'm gonna show you that in just a little bit that I pulled a couple weeks ago, and you can see how the papers are so much different than these. If you just rub on these will break. And you don't really want that so that your garlic will store for long-term usage. So I'm just gonna keep working around the bed until I've gotten them all out of here. Man, this dirt is so good. We're actually gonna go back and plant in this bed. Now that I get the garlic, now I've gotten the garlic out, we're actually gonna go in and plant something else. And then what we plant will be done in time to plant garlic here again in late fall. Late fall, yeah, November-ish. So I told you that I would show you the 3 that I pulled the other week out of the garden. They have been drying. You can see where the papers have hardened around them. Now they're not as soft and all like the others that we were pulling out of the garden. And then I'll probably give these just another week before we cut the tops off here and then store them for the winter. So, and you can see these bulbs really were a lot smaller. I left this as the whole thing intact here. And so after I talked to a friend of mine who is a wonderful gardener. She told me just to cut them down, so that's why you saw the ones outside that were cut down. I did that, and it actually really did, I think, make the bulbs swell up so they were even bigger.
These are cool.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us on our homestead today. I hope you enjoyed watching us harvest that garlic. I want you to know it is so exciting that when you put something in the ground and then you come back 8 months later and you see how well it is done, it is so rewarding. And then to know that our family is going to be eating on that throughout the coming year, and I'm gonna show you something really neat we're gonna do with that garlic as well to help with antiviral and antibacterial things that come on around fall and winter time. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned for that. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, do that. We have lots more videos coming showing you of the produce we're bringing in, as well as some other fun projects that are gonna be happening on our homestead. So give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time right here at Cram Farms.